Hi, this is Chris from the Orange Coast College Art Department, introducing the user interface for Adobe Photoshop. Now, if you're new to Photoshop, it's totally understandable that you open it up and go, oh my God, what the heck is all of this? It can be a little intimidating because Adobe Photoshop does a lot of different things and you're going to just use some of those things. So hopefully we can sort out the user interface and make it a little bit more comfortable for you to work with it. We want to talk about the application frame, menus, windows, the toolbar, and the option bar in this video. Let's start with the windows because boy, they get right in your way. We're looking here at this screen and seeing all kinds of windows, and if you go to the window menu, we're not even showing all of the windows. There's about 30 windows that you can have open. And because of this, many Photoshop artists will actually have a few displays attached to their computer. So they can have one for their windows and one for their artwork so that they've got plenty of room to work. Now, let's clean it up a little bit by going to pick a workspace. I'm going to pick the painting workspace. It's a little bit more streamlined. And what happens when you do this is these saved workspaces show some of the windows and they hide the rest of the windows. And let's take a look at them. We can see over on the right here, we've got the navigator window open, the brush presets open, and the paths open. We've also got buttons for other windows: history, brush, clone source, character, paragraph, tool presets, and libraries. This is all configurable. So you should know that these buttons will temporarily pop out other windows. So here's the history window, and it can pop on back when we click. We can also tear that off and float it. We can put it on back. Also in our open windows, we can group them in tabs. So we can have our swatches or a navigator tabbed. And so you can group your windows as desired. You'll probably have layers open a lot. We'll bring that one forward. So this is all customizable. You can place your windows wherever you want. You can have them in button mode. You can have them tabbed. You can have them grouped. You can have them pinned to the frame, or you can just have them closed. Let's take a look up at the menu bar. Now, this has a menu bar like all the other programs that you know. And one thing that you may want to note is that, like most menus, you've got keyboard shortcuts listed over to the right if they exist. So, for instance, step backward is Command Z on a Mac. So you can learn a lot of those keyboard shortcuts just by looking at your menus. Now, if these aren't the keyboard shortcuts you would like, you can come on over to the window menu, go into Workspace, and you can customize all your keyboard shortcuts and menus to make things just the way you like it. The next area that you're really going to want to know is the toolbar, and that's this area on the left. It's this long strip. Sometimes it's in one column, sometimes it's in two. Again, that's customizable. These are where all your tools you're going to interact with are. And there are often more tools than are visible. For instance, if there's this little yellow triangle, you can click and hold and see flyouts for other related tools. Also, if you want to hover over a tool, you'll get a little tooltip to pop up. It'll tell you the keyboard shortcut key, if there is one, and the name of that tool. Now, this still might be really overwhelming. So some ways to think about reducing the clutter. Down here, we can change the screen mode. So we can go to a full screen with menu bar, and what this does is it blocks out everything else on your computer. If you're not using your whole screen, if the application frame doesn't use the whole display, you can enlarge it to make it take up the whole display. But let's say you just want to work and you don't even want the toolbar around or any of the windows. You can Go forward one more and do full screen mode, and you just have your image to work on. You can flip between these modes by just hitting the F key. So that's the toolbar, and you'll be interacting with that a lot. You'll want to get to know the key tools in depth, so look for that in other videos, both in this series and elsewhere on the web. Then lastly, I want to point out the application bar. Lastly, I want to point out the options bar, and that is right along the top below the menu here. If you are in a particular tool, the options for that tool will display, and so it's contextual. When you switch tools, your options will switch. So let's say you switch to the text tool. Here you've got some font options, as well as type size, as well as justification, and even some quick pop-out buttons for related windows. So I click on this button, I get my character and paragraph windows to pop out. I click on it and it goes back away. So it's a handy way to bring relevant options right up to the front for you. So hopefully that helps you understand the interface of Photoshop a little bit better. But again, I have to say, it's completely understandable if it feels overwhelming, because Photoshop is a complex program that does a lot of things, of which you're only going to need part of those things to do the work that you want to do. So that's why the interface is customizable, so that you can make it what you want it to be to help you get your art going with as little difficulty as possible. So remember that. When you get to know Photoshop and you know the way you like it, you can make a workspace, you can save it, and then you can load it, and when Photoshop comes up, it'll be just the way you want it. I hope that helps. Please explore more in this Getting Started series about how to get rolling with Photoshop, because it's a powerful tool that can really help you make some great art.